LSON-JONES, and I'm the president of the Oakland Education Association. Well, we're protesting the visit by Michelle Rhee, who, by the way, makes about $50,000 for every visit that she goes around doing her brand of corporate spin. She's basically a paid lobbyist. She's paid by the likes of Rupert Murdoch, Eli Broad. She's cozy with Tea Party governors, and she has the nerve to go around saying how schools should be run, how teachers should be paid, and how students should be measured.
What did you do in the Washington schools?
She presided over the Washington schools as D.C. chancellors after 2 or 3 years of teaching experience. And during her tenure, she fired teachers she didn't like. She fired a bunch of principals. She had to turn around and rehire. They were given back pay for 2 years because of the way she did it. There were also, there's a big testing scandal that happened under her watch. I had a teacher say to me today, why isn't she in jail? Anybody did that, they'd be in jail here. But frankly, she's a corporate whore, nothing more. She stands for big money, and she's pushing charter schools and privatization, merit pay for teachers. She's terrible.
There's some talk that she's actually picking many principals and superintendents throughout the country.
I wouldn't be surprised, especially since she's working with Eli Broad, who picked, as you know, the 3 state administrators in Oakland several years ago. So if she's got her finger in that, and then she's running this front called Students First, which is really just a front for her lobbying interests.
What's the impact of charter schools in Oakland as far as public education?
We have about 8,000 students in charter schools. It's close to 20% of the population of students. It's a drain on the resources of the district. The students whose parents have more means or more wherewithal to put their kids in charters, they promise all kinds of things, but they push kids out if they don't test well or if they don't want the kids there, if they don't like their behavior. I had a student who went to a KIPP charter, and I saw him the next month and said, so how's school? He said, oh, we're not there anymore. My mom said it wasn't a good fit. His mom would never have said that. He was pushed out. So they very much cherry pick the students they want. There are some charters, I'm sure, throughout the country that are decent. The original charters were formed to be innovative and, you know, get away from some of the ed code. But for the most part, they've been taken over by corporate charter management organization.
My name is Charmaine Banther. I'm a teacher in Union City. I'm here because Michelle Rhee is into dividing our schools, testing. All she wants to do is build test takers. We've seen over the years our kids are less problem solving, less critical thinking. They can choose the best answer out of 4 multiple choice, but that's all they can do. We're building a generation that can't think for itself. It's awful. So as a teacher, I'm here to say, no, Michelle Rhee, no more accountability like that, no more bubble tests. We need to build good kids, good citizens. We need kids to have art and PE, music.
Well, aren't you able to get those in the charter schools?
No, the charter schools haven't shown that they're any better than any of our schools. They get to self-select the kids, and they haven't shown any better results on these bubble tests. And they get to send them back when they don't like them anymore to take the test in our schools. It's not, they're not showing any results. What we know works is our communities working together to build great schools for our kids. We know what our societies need. We need good quality schools in every community, not just selective charter schools here and there.
Well, it seems like the law's been changed in California. There's a lot of support for more charter schools that are being pushed while public schools are being shut down. What is the solution?
The solution is to get corporations out of our public schools and listen to teachers. Listen to the parents. Have the parents and the teachers get together and we'll solve the problems. We need more funding in California. We're 46th in the nation. She wants less money for schools. Let me tell you, having 40 kids stuck in my algebra class, it's not good education.
And who do you think is behind Michelle Rhee?
The Republicans, corporations, money, people that want to stop unions and want to stop public education, voucher folks. Everybody who is anti-public school is in Michelle Rhee's court.
Now, Jerry Brown, the governor, started 2 military charter schools in Oakland, and apparently is in favor of more charter schools in California. What do you think about his initiative and how it will affect education?
I think Governor Brown is a little wrong in that charter schools are the answer. The answer is giving us the funding and the time and the community support that we need, and we'll solve those problems. I mean, we've already shown that. We have some schools that we've infused with extra funds. The most needy schools, our QEIA project, and we've shown huge results because it's each school looking at the needs of their kids and coming up with solutions for their kids. And each of those schools has come up. We have a huge success rate.
And Diane Ravitch recently spoke to different meetings. What do you think her assessment of the situation is?
She's right on. She knows exactly what's going on. She was a big proponent of assessments and all this bubble tests, and she's seen that that was wrong. And she's seen that the way to fix the problem is to have us work together, communities and teachers working together. All we need is support. And you know, we're not the bad guy. I've given my life to the kids of California. 24 years I've been a teacher. I didn't do it for the money. I did it to build good people. And what I'm being told is that we're not good enough unless we can get them to pass a very shallow test. I want to build good people. I don't care if they can bubble the right answer.
Melinda.
Why are you here to protest?
I'm a teacher, first grade teacher in San Lorenzo, and I got the word that Michelle Rhee was speaking here. I actually don't know who's sponsoring this even, but I know about her positions on education, and I think it's the wrong direction to go in.
What's the situation in the San Lorenzo schools?
I just got laid off again tonight for the fifth year in a row. So
It's your fifth
I'm
layoff?
missing that board meeting.
So this is a regular occurrence?
It is. Yeah, this is my 5th year with the district, and the way we've been dealing with budget problems is to lay off teachers and raise class sizes. And this time they say they think we're all going to be rehired, but I think they've just gotten kind of hooked on pink slips. I don't know.
And what's the effect on education in San Lorenzo School District with these continual layoffs and the increasing of the class sizes?
Particularly for the schools in the poorer areas, because our district is pretty stratified, it's been devastating. I mean, some schools have lost 25 to 50% of their teachers. You know, you go to trainings, you collaborate with others, and then you're moved from school to school. That, combined with No Child Left Behind and Race to the Top, has really just decimated education in San Lorenzo.
What's wrong with Race to the Top?
Puts the blame on teachers for the most part and says, you know, if we can just get good teachers in there, then we can solve the problem with education. It doesn't put money into education. It doesn't deal with the problems of poverty in this country. It puts the blame on teachers.
Ziki, and basically here because we are tired of being scapegoated as the problem for public education. We're tired of union busting. We're tired of hearing about excessive testing, and we're tired of hearing about merit pay for teachers, which would basically pit us against one another. We simply want workable conditions so that we can teach the children. It's all about the children, it's all about their education. And there's no reason why we can't go ahead and support public education in a proper way so that we can go ahead and do our jobs.
What do you mean by union busting?
Well, union busting in terms of trying to get rid of seniority rights, in terms of trying to renegotiate and change around teacher contracts and things like that. We have something going on in Oakland right now talking about mutual matching, which is supposedly trying to fit teachers with schools. But when you look at the fine details, you end up losing your seniority rights. So in other words, a veteran teacher of 15 to 20 years could be bumped by a teacher 2 years because she's so-called a better match for that particular school.
What do you think about this Teacher for America program?
I can tell you this much. The statistics show that these Teach for America teachers are coming into urban school districts and they're teaching for 2 to 3 years, basically getting their feet wet, and then they leave for the suburbs.
So they're not really going to stay in the urban schools?
Absolutely not. That's what the history has shown us.
And do you you think there's a plan to destroy public education in the United States?
Absolutely. I believe that 100%. You see the rise in approved charter schools. You see, again, the attack on public education, on unions, on teachers. So I absolutely feel that there is an attack on public education. It seems as though those that have are basically saying, no, we're no longer going to pay our fair share and foot the bill for public education.
Paul Smith, teach kindergarten in East Oakland.
Okay.
And what is happening with public education is going to be try to eliminate it and then go to a more of a corporate business-based for-profit. And the people that are going to suffer are going to be the children, because it'll be based on test scores and achievement rather than giving them what they need and creating thinkers. Because I think the goal of education now is not to create thinkers, but to create consumers and non-thinking students and or adults, so that the status quo will just keep on going on forever.
And who's behind this effort to bring in charter schools and Teach for America and these other programs?
It's just would be the Gates and Broad and people like that, the Koch brothers, anybody that wants to kind of maintain the hold on the economy and the United States government and society in general, I think.
Now, there were some charter schools set up, the military charter schools by Jerry Brown. What's happening with that?
They basically came in as kind of a way to reach out to the community, and then through testing and what have you, they've been transformed into kind of they pick and choose the students they want. And the Indian school being one of them, Indian charter school being one of them, where they just start losing the kind of the overall reach of the students, and they start self-selecting for the achievement and test scores that they want to prove that they're successful, rather than embracing the entire community.
Do you think this whole charter movement is a sham?
Is a sham?
As far as the promise of what charter education?
The promise is, yes, I think the promise is a sham, because my old school site, we started a public school site with a charter school, and when we came around to testing, we would notice that they would start expelling their students that were low performing behavior issues in the classroom. And then, since we were the nearest school, we would then receive them, and I would see students that I recognized but I'd never seen in a classroom, and I would go to the charter school and say, wasn't they with you? And they go, oh yeah, but they're kind of in an under the table kind of way of removing their low achieving students and sending them to the public schools.
Why are the charter schools allowed to do this in California?
Because they're independent schools. They're private schools, essentially, with government and or private funding. So they're able to do whatever they want.
Karen Snelson, life science teacher.
And why are you here tonight?
I'm here tonight because it really scares me that we're going to have corporate education, and we're going to lose the right of people to have equal opportunity. Forget upward mobility if we go private.
And what do you mean corporate education? What are you talking about?
So we're talking about privatizing education, starting with charter schools.
I'm Diane Maddox.
And where do you teach?
Downer Elementary in San Pablo.
What's going on in the schools?
I'm very fortunate to be working with an administrator who is very supportive of his teachers, but not all are. And when I looked around, I realized it wasn't just a few administrators. It was a national and international push to
the only thing that I heard that's on the possible negative side is
to privatize what would otherwise be a public good, because there's money to be made, and if someone can't afford that service, they're just cannon fodder.
Michelle Rhee here tonight is saying that she's going to fix the situation.
She'll probably fix it for an elite few. I don't have a 99% sign, but it won't work for everyone. Public education is a wider safety net than private, and the Michelle Rhee, the people who she would be helping would be just being. They would profit from it, not the public.
Here's Julie Palacios. I've been teaching in Oakland 10 years. Yes, and it's been very difficult to stay here, especially in a district where I haven't got a raise in almost 10 years. But I'm willing to do it because I was born and raised here and I want to be here.
And what are the conditions for teachers today in Oakland?
Today, they're pretty bad. Teachers are having to take money out of their own pockets. They're having overcrowded classrooms. I'm lucky to be under a QEIA fund where we're actually getting class size reduction and everything, but that's only a few schools. Every other school is going through really hard times. Even being a school that's under QEIA, we have to make sacrifices. The principal posted up a list. Well, who are we going to get rid of? And it was ridiculous because it was counselors, teachers. It was things that you need in a school. A nurse. Ridiculous. Things that are very important for the school. And there was a list. I said, I wish I would have taken a picture of this and had the video during this meeting. Ridiculous.
And why are these things being done in the schools?
Well, I don't think the priorities are right. I mean, administrators, there's too many administrators. Way too many administrators. The budget, we got the highest paid superintendent, but yet the teachers haven't had a pay raise in so many years. It's ridiculous.
So for 10 years there's been no pay raise?
Well, there's been a slight, what you could call point. No, not really, because it was a 4% takeaway, and then it went 4%, and ever since then, nothing.
I'm here because people like Michelle Rhee stand for the privatization of our education system, which is not something that can be bought and sold. Public education is a right for everybody in this country. This idea of high-stakes testing, it creates winners and losers in the education system, and that doesn't make any sense. The idea that schools can be failing because they're not meeting proficiency levels on an exam doesn't make sense. People who design these tests design them so that not every single kid is going to be at a proficiency level on the exam, and so to create a system that advocates for this kind of testing, which No Child Left Behind has obviously done, and people like Rhee and other quote-unquote reformers are backing, again, doesn't make sense.
Well, who's behind this privatization of charter schools?
Well, that's a big question. Who's behind it? I think that there are a lot of people that stand to gain a lot of money, and there are a lot of corporate interests behind this move. Which is part of why unions have been bashed across the country. Why Wisconsin happened just last year.
As a student, I feel like we should have a voice in this matter. Yeah, definitely. And as our sign says, I mean, our teachers have given us so much, more than just an education. I mean, leadership we've learned in the classroom, but we've also been able to apply it elsewhere, and I mean, we've learned so much. There's so much our teachers have to offer us.
Well, Michelle Rhee says she wants to help out the schools. You don't believe her?
I don't think she's helping in the right way.
What's the solution for what's going on in the schools?
It's a pretty complicated problem. It's a multifaceted problem, and there aren't any easy answers, but who's better to reform the public schools than the educators themselves? And we're committed to education reform, but not high-stakes testing. That's not the way to go about it. You can't measure compassion.
You don't think testing is going to solve the problems of improving the schools?
Absolutely not, and it's going to cost us way too much money to do it. There are much better ways to reform the schools, and we need to be looking to those sorts of ways that nourish the whole child and not just the intellect.
And what's your name?
I'm Catherine Palmer Collins.
You're a teacher?
I am.
Okay. What? Oh, your name again?
I'm Bianca Stern. I'm Isadora Stern.
And this is the twins on the picket line.
Yeah!
Okay.
Thank you.